right, let's call the meeting to order then at 5:30 p.m. Can I get a roll call, please?
Durstock. So, Luch,
Here.
Hoglins.
Here.
E.
Here.
Smith. Here. Swanson.
Here.
And Wagaman.
Here.
All right. Did everybody get a copy of the meeting minutes from March 13th, 2024?
Yes.
A motion to approve them?
Make a motion to approve.
Let's see, so got motion made by Wayne, but
Me.
second by me.
All in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
Like Durstock is here as of 5:31.
All right.
Opposed?
Any opposed? All right.
One
Meeting
second.
minutes approved. All right, on to new business. Item number 2 on the agenda is ZBA 24-002. Is anyone here to present that?
Just read out.
Okay, sorry. Public hearing for a variance request to increase the width of the driveway from 24 feet to 29 feet at the property line extending to the existing garage at 738 Ballymore Road, PIN 08-06-254-019.
And legal Linus is here, present our staff report first, and then we'll have plenty of time for you to come up and make your statements as well. Okay. Linus?
Yes, sounds good. So this request was filed by Andrew and Denise Appelgren for the property at 738 Ballymore Road for a driveway variance. The property is located in the Crystal Hills subdivision in the R1 one-family residential zoning district. And the request is for a variance to have a driveway for their 3-car garage that extends the full width of the garage facade length, which is 29 feet, and have that extend all the way to the street to allow for temporary loading and unloading of an RV trailer without impeding normal access to the garage itself. And so the code has residential driveway design standards, which are located within the development standards applicable to residential districts. And the 2 sections of code that would be requesting relief from via this variance request are for the maximum driveway width that's established for all residential zoning districts, which is not to exceed 24 feet in widths at the property line. And then to also exceed the second requirement within the driveway standards, which is a provision that allows for garage access drives to meet the width of a garage that extends past 24 feet in width, but then requiring it to taper after a distance of 20 feet from the facade down to the driveway with maximum of 24 feet within 10 feet of taper, essentially. So the request is to obtain variance from these driveway standards to create a driveway, again, that is a full 29 feet from the garage facade all the way to the property line. So these residential driveway standards are established to minimize the amount of excessive pavement that is in residential neighborhoods. The standards in place currently allow for a maximum driveway width that permits easy maneuvering of 2 vehicles to and from at least a 2-car garage, providing a pretty ample 12 feet of space or width per car, which is as much as you find on a modern highway travel lane for a car. And as described, the code does have provisions to allow for access to garages that exceed that 24 or generally 2-car width, as is the case here. Again, just requiring that the driveway eventually be reduced back down to the maximum 24-foot width that is established. So allowing an exception to this maximum established driveway width would create a precedent that could substantially increase the amount of hardscape and paved surface within residential neighborhoods within the village, which would ultimately be reducing green space where residents live and detracting from the character and the quality of residential neighborhoods that the village is trying to create. Ultimately, it might not seem like a big deal to say, okay, well, hey, it's an expansion of a couple feet. But the code is in place for a reason. When a variance is granted to the code, it is per the code and per state statute supposed to be for a number of criteria that are exceptions to the code, significant exceptions. And those are outlined within code section 155.15.9, which are the standards required for approving a variance. And I would recommend ultimately against approving a variance at the ZBA level because these criteria have not been met. A variance may only be granted if there's an unnecessary physical hardship affecting the practical use of the property that's caused by a unique physical characteristic or circumstance of the site itself. A practical difficulty or a physical hardship of this nature must not include conditions that are created by the property owner, nor be due to the personal circumstances of the property owner. And the conditions upon which the variance is being requested for must be unique to the property and not generally applicable to all properties within the same zoning district.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, I believe, sir, if you want to approach, if you could state your name, and there's a place for you to sign as well. It's there, not a place for you to sign.
I don't think we have one up there. It's fine.
Okay, you could please state your name,
Andrew Appleman, property owner, 8,000 mark.
and that's where you reside.
Yes.
Speak up slightly. Sorry.
Sorry,
I heard you. No, that's fine. We're not, yeah, we're just being quiet here.
All right, you can raise your right hand, please. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
So,
Thank you. All right, if you could please let us know about your application.
Yeah, as previously stated, that the driveway is currently 22 feet, it paved, but the culvert extends a couple feet past that. Creating difficulty to back in the RV trailer to load and unload for trips. And I don't want to park it in the street and create hazards for other people in the neighborhood.
Okay. So you indicated there's a culvert there,
Yeah, it's a drainage ditch,
a drainage ditch.
with a 16-inch culvert.
Are you able to park your RV there now?
No.
In your garage, you're not able to?
No, it's 42 foot long and 13 feet high. So I have it at a storage facility. And if we were to plan a trip, we would bring it home the day before, plug it in, so the refrigerator could pre-cool, load it up with groceries and personal items, hook up with the truck and take off like the next morning. And it's, like the same for unloading.
All right, I note on here that you have your neighbor's existing driveway on there. Please explain the significance of that.
But figured that, well, the wife and I went around the neighborhood yesterday. There are a total of 22 driveways in the neighborhood that have 3 cars on the street.
22 in your neighborhood, you said?
In my neighborhood, not including the new construction that's to the south.
Is there anything else you want?
That's basically it.
Do you have any questions?
You said it was, what's the variant, it's 24 is the maximum, right? And you said it's 22,
A part is 22 feet.
so just extending to the 24 wouldn't give you enough width?
But because of the way third car side curves out up to the third car side, the trailer goes in at an angle. And it impedes normal in and out for the 2-car garage.
But you don't leave it parked there all the time.
No, just to load and unload it. But if need be, it could be. for repairs or extended parking.
But you still wouldn't have it parked there all the time. It's just for an occasional use. That's what you need it for.
Right, occasional use. And as it is right now, on the third car side is where I have to park my truck, which is an extended cab dually, so it's a long truck. And the only way I can get in and out is going over the corner of the grass, and I hate tearing up the grass. I'd rather have it nice and straight, nice grass on both sides.
Do we know if that's accurate that there's 22?
I did count today 18. And that was just in the older section. And for my own investigation, I saw that a lot of the third car skirts are not long enough for most people to access their third car garage. There's lots of ruts. There are other people with trucks parked in front of those and they're rutted up the yard. So that is a fact. The other thing I kind of questioned about the ordinance for driveways was the construction of a lot of those blacktop driveways. They're supposed to be 8 inches of gravel, 4 inches of blacktop. There's no way that ever happened. These are very flat. A lot of them sunken. They weren't totally beautifully done. I don't think they're correct from the beginning. But there's already 17 in there, and who knows if they requested a permit or a variance. We don't know. I didn't have time to look at all of them. The neighbor's property where he did do it, there was a permit, but everything was scrambled out of public viewing. So I don't know what that is. I didn't have time to dig into it. Why it was not saying driveway, you know? I don't know. It's a nice concrete driveway. A lot of the 3-laners are concrete, and I guess that's gonna cost you 15 grand today. There is one I saw that is a proper blacktop 3-lane. In other words, it wasn't the original driveway to that house. And it looked like a nice 4-inch level of blacktop. So I think it's something that we have to talk about because it's already happened at a pretty large level.
Right.
Well, the old code allowed 30 feet if you had a 3-car garage. You could go 30 feet all the way out. So, and this code hasn't been that long because we reviewed it back when Scott was here. So that was, to 24, it was 24 if you had a 2-car garage. If you had a 3-car, it was 30 that was allowed, and 30 was struck. I'm not sure if there's a reason behind that, if it was because of the additional payment people didn't like. I don't just recall, but the old code allowed that. So that might be the reason why a lot of these homes have the wider drive. You're probably right on the thickness part. That probably is not sufficient on many of these homes, but at least that's why some other residents in the neighborhood have the wider drives, is my guess.
And they do look very nice. Most of them look nice, well-maintained. They look like a driveway. A lot of the existing weren't holding up really great.
Well, there's on the screen, I put the current code. This was adopted in 2021 when you guys adopted or board adopted the new code. It was that taper effect is what got put in at that time to allow for those 3-car garages, but also trying to minimize just the concrete expanse or the blacktop expanses at the front of those properties. And so that's why that was established.
Well, there is one out there that is the original blacktop. And they added a 3rd lane of concrete. So it doesn't even match and they're not the same level. I mean, it's there. I'm not a big driveway lover, but when something looks as a little bit confusing as it is right now out there, something has to give for people.
What type of material are you intending to use, or,
Blacktop.
okay, you gonna be redoing the whole thing or just adding a
Yes,
section?
the original, I believe it's the original driveway to the house, and it's sunk this far from the garage, concrete, and that's the main reason for redoing it in the first place. But as long as we're redoing it, hey, why not get it a little wider so we can park the RV there when we need to? Wait, the blacktop one's gonna be 12,000,
Yeah, concrete probably.
because they'll be adding an extension to the steel culvert at the same grade that's already there, and then filling it over the top.
I think one time we had an applicant want to blacktop in front of their house, which, no. A 3-lane could also help. I saw a lot of cars parked, here's the garage, and then that little jut out. They're parking cars at angles there to fit their cars in out of the way of garage. And I'm like, I think that doesn't look great either in my neighborhood, if that's what it was. So I don't know, to me, I don't see a huge issue with it as long as it's done within the proper guidelines and requirements for construction.
All right.
I think we gotta find out about house next door when this was done, because that's not even in compliance with the old zone.
No, it's huge. But it doesn't look bad. I just.
Whether
wanted
it
to
looks
see
bad
it.
or not,
Yeah,
if we've got a zoning ordinance, we've got a zoning ordinance.
right.
Yes.
You've got 17 out. I mean, I don't know. If you have an ordinance and they're grandfathered in, is what you're saying on the other one?
If he's just done this, he's not grandfathered in, and it doesn't match the old ordinance.
Right.
If I may for a moment, board members. I think it's very easy to get caught, in a lot of these details in the midst of transition. And I think it might be helpful for the board to consider long-term, what are the goals of the city or the village, excuse me, in terms of, every aspect of what you were involved in ruling on. So in this case, maybe as it sounds like some conversation is leading to, maybe there does need to be a code amendment. However, the code was adopted recently, as Joe said, for the reason of trying to reduce pavement in residential neighborhoods. So I think, I wouldn't necessarily recommend trying to retroactively now worry about getting people who have wider driveways that have been established previously in place. Those are non-conforming. I would suggest thinking forward to what kind of standard the village would like to enforce now and in the future. And again, there are growing pains. There's conflict when the new ordinance is clearly more restrictive than it was previously. But ultimately, on a case-by-case basis, I would urge the board to consider what the goals, character, and desired outcome is of the zoning code, and then act according to what that is. Whether that ultimately is the need for at staff level reconfiguration of some of the zoning code, or enforcing it as exists, or what have you. I don't know if that complicates the matter further, but I think it's easy to get lost in the details. And sometimes with a lot of these larger scale changes, it's best to consider sort of the grander scale. What is the desired outcome of neighborhoods as they're developed, even in these minute details, but how those contribute to the overall character of the community.
One thing to consider too, these findings of fact, they're important and I certainly understand them. But the definition of hardship is going to be extremely rare for any driveway that comes before us to meet the hardship. So I would hope the residents told this and, then base their decision to come forward on that decision, because, I've dealt with other projects that have hardships and they're not hardships by these definitions. So it's, like I said, I think it's gonna be very rare for any kind of driveway situation to meet the definition of hardship at all, quite frankly.
I have a question. This area right here that you did the hash marks in, that's the additional right here on your drawing. Sorry, this part right here. You're going from here all the way to there. Is currently here. right? Am I reading that right?
Yes, that would be the addition.
Okay. So
Where
we
the hash area was,
I'm sorry.
the hashes, for the hash
Yeah,
areas.
The hash areas must be grass currently.
Right.
He's going to pave that area, bringing it to 38,
35.
30.
I just wanted to bring it from the edge of the garage door out to the edge of the house, which would make it 30 feet.
Yeah, you're not going in front of your house at all.
No, that's actually on the side of the house.
You're not going past the third car either.
No, just right to the edge, straight out to the street. Because we plan to put like patio block on the side of the house for the garbage cans, because right now they currently sit in front of the third car garage.
Yeah.
I don't think that looks right. I'm gonna put up a little fence that's maybe this high and hide the garbage cans.
Might I chime in? Joe, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay,
We go maybe once a month. To-
to elaborate a little on the
Sorry, Chairman.
hardship. To elaborate a little bit on the hardship, not only is it not a hardship, as opposed to a mere inconvenience, as it's worded. This is at best a mere inconvenience and certainly not a hardship. Thoughts?
Perfectly honest, if I may,
Can you speak up just slightly more? I know it's.
to be perfectly honest, I had no idea about the hardship aspect of it. Basically a request. Because a lot of other places in the neighborhood have it. Like, that's a good idea. Can we do that? Well, yes, we'll apply for a variance.
All right, any other questions, comments?
Well, we're here for a variance on an existing ordinance. So I don't know that we're trying to reconstruct the ordinance, but I mean, we gotta stick to the scope of what we're here for tonight, and if going forward, if that needs to be discussed about changing the ordinance, a different thing. I just think we need to stick to whether we wanna agree to a variance on the ordinance that's there. And as it's said, if we do that, we might be changing, setting different new precedents that every time somebody wants to just, for whatever the reason, and I understand that you have your reason, but we also have to, that we have the ordinances and codes for certain, for a reason too. So it's understandable.
Well, and to what you just said, I guess I would like staff to ideally educate the residents when they come forward with their requests, like you did, to say, here's the uphill battle you might be facing because this really doesn't meet a hardship situation. Then and you're better educated, I think, to move forward.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? All right. Then with regards to the variance requests, are there any motions?
Processing.
And remember, a motion to approve does not mean that is your vote. It's just whether or not it comes to the board for a vote.
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right, very
One
good.
second. Smith, motion by Ryan Swanson, second by Melissa Smith.
All right, and we'll do a named vote.
Okay. See, Blutch,
No.
Ogland,
Yes.
Mead,
No,
Smith,
Yes.
Swanson,
No.
Wagaman,
No.
it's like 4 nays. Oh, sorry, Durstock.
No,
My motion fails. So this will this will go to this will go to the village board on April 16th with a negative recommendation from the ZBA. Okay, so this will be in front of the ZBA board. You're certainly welcome to attend that meeting on next Tuesday, and they'll be at 6:30.
Right, thank you all for your time.
Thank you. All right, moving on, is there any other old business? Any public comment?
Yeah,
You can come forward, state your name.
Josh Labrie, I'm at 9859 Hagerman in Denali. So I don't know if we can talk back and forth or not, but a little bit about me. I'm 37. I've lived in Roswell 37 years. I lived in the county twice. I lived in Crystal Hills once, and I've lived in Denali twice now. We can't hang on to anything, I guess, is our problem. But so we kind of take everything case by case. The last driveway we had in Denali, the cutback, I'm kind of similar situation here, and I didn't even think it was a problem. So I actually had my deposit down in a 3-car wide ready to spit out here. And then I just got a call from Norwest today that I can't do that because there's a new code. So to try to address a couple of the issues that I heard tonight, we're talking about like looks of the neighborhood, looks of Roscoe. I mean, without being disrespectful, Roscoe has let the builder walk all over them. And I think Roscoe has set a precedence that we're gonna be walked on, and the people that are gonna pay for it are the taxpayers that do nothing wrong. My last house in Denali was a 2-car approach with a 3rd-car kickout. The kickout was a little bit better. I don't really care if I'm 3 cars all the way out or if I'm 2 cars, you know, and then kick into a 3 as long as it's functional. But as far as the hardship goes, I challenge anybody here to try to back out of my 3rd-car garage and not hit the grass first try. So I actually have, I think my driveway is 2 inches thick. So if the 2-car with the 3rd-car stall was poured in a way that it's accessible into the 3rd-car stall, I'd probably just let the thing crumble and do it right later. But moving in 2 weeks ago, I'm already spending 8,000. I guess I got a little bit smaller driveway than this gentleman. I'm already spending 8,000 ripping it up and putting a new driveway in. And I'm not even batting an eye at it. I'm being cool. I'm trying to come back into this situation with a positive attitude. But if I'm gonna do that, I'd rather rip it up and do it the way that I want to do it. Now, as far as looks go, I disagree. I don't think that. I think you get in, I think certain people do take things a little too far, and they'll go too far off onto the side, and it turns into a junkyard. I'm not that way. I've lived there 2 weeks, and I can promise you I got more landscape down than that entire neighborhood put together. So I plan on landscaping down both sides of the driveway. I'm big on hard work. I'm OCD, and I'm big on appearance. I want my house to look like the nicest one in the neighborhood. And I think the last one I sold in Denali sold for, well, at the time, the most money that one had ever sold for, and I think it's still the best looking one on the street. So I plan on doing that with this one too. I don't want to make anything look like a junkyard. We got a bunch of nice vehicles, and the way that with the vehicles we have, with like the Jeep that we have and where it has to go in the garage, and the truck I have and how long it is, it puts my wife in the 3rd-car spot, and I'm gonna have a banged up 2024 SUV with her trying to back out of that thing, or she's gonna be all over my grass. So if the driveway was poured the right way, you know, you can't add on to a driveway. You just can't do it. It looks like crap if it's concrete, and it looks like, and it will eventually look like crap if you try to add on with more asphalt to existing asphalt. You have to tear the thing out and you have to redo it. I'm not gonna spend $8,000 to redo it the right way. I wanna spend, if I'm gonna spend the $8,000, I wanna do it in a manner that is functional for my family. So, you know, like I said, I just learned about this tonight. I know my driveway is 2 inches thick, but I know no 2 driveways are the same, and they're supposed to be the same. I'm 3 cars wide. with a 3-car garage, and I would like to take mine 3 cars out, and we looked at one house and it just didn't work when we were gonna move back to the neighborhood, and it had a nice approach into the 3rd car spot, but the house just didn't work. And then we come over here and we're like, damn it. It's like 10 feet off the 3rd car spot, and then it kicks at like the hardest angle you've ever seen. It's just not functional. So, you know, I'm curious, like you said, you wanna educate the public. What uphill battle am I gonna run into to try to do this? And I know I can apply for a variance. I mean, we're talking about looks here. The lot next to mine is filled with garbage and it's filled with piles of dirt. So I got a $400,000 house sitting right next to a pile of dirt. What does that do for the appearance of the neighborhood? I mean, are we stepping over pebbles and we're missing boulders here or what? You know, I don't think you're gonna have a flood of people come in here. I don't think you're gonna have a flood of people coming in here trying to go 3 wide out. I don't know if a lot of people can afford it. Everything's expensive. I think people just, if it's functional for them, they're gonna ask for it and try to do it. And I think you should take each one on a case by case basis and maybe see what their plans are, what they plan on doing, you know? If they come in and they say, you know, I work on cars for a living. I need a bigger driveway. I probably wouldn't approve that either. But I mean, like I said, I plan on landscaping down mine, and I mean, am I spinning my wheels or am I stuck with it? I mean, I'm not gonna spend 7,500 or $8,000 to redo what I already have in a manner that works. I mean, am I wasting my time even trying to push forward and get something that's functional now approved? You know?
Well, this is public comment, so and we definitely don't wanna be talking about applications you don't have in front of you, have been posted, so we're not gonna address the specifics of that, you can ask, but absolutely. Sometime to meet with myself or actually with Elias, he can certainly talk you through what we're doing. I think your point is well taken, though, that we want to be consistent in following our ordinances, and I don't know that always in the past that they've done that, so.
I mean,
It's a good point, we absolutely want, why the board tonight, I think, you know, we're going to follow those ordinances.
tonight,
Absolutely, make an appointment with us and Elias, and we'll be very happy to discuss this
so I mean, I would like to add,
specific situation.
understood. I would like to add, I mean, I feel like we're playing the hardship game now. You know, the hardship, it's functional for a family.
That's what the stat, I mean, that's.
I know, I get it. But we've already shot someone down who you're basically saying, can't have a camper or you have to store it, you know? So, I mean, I don't have a camper. I mean, if my driveway was done right, whether I wanted a 3-car or not, I'm not gonna spend $8,000, so I would have just made it work. But, you know, eventually this driveway is gonna crumble and nobody can pull out of my 3rd car spot. So is that a hardship or a mere inconvenience? You know, can't use my 3rd car garage. Nobody here could pull a car out of the 3rd car spot. So I would say, since that's now not usable, that would be a hardship. Personally, so.
All right, well, thank you very much for your comment. We do appreciate that. And as Mr. Billington indicated, make an appointment, prepare an application, and certainly that every case is taken on a case by case basis, so. Okay, any other public comment? All right, then I don't believe there's anything else on the agenda. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor? All opposed? All right, meeting adjourned. So you gavel this thing.
No, no, you don't. Hey Joe, can I schedule something tonight with one of you guys, or do you want me to call you, or?
Yeah, I tried calling you back earlier tonight.
I know, that was back and forth.
Yes. I'm gonna turn off my recording. Okay. Yeah, I'll talk to you in a moment.
Oh, yeah, you're fine.
Thanks for stop all this. Thank you, Elias. You definitely talk to each other.
Of course, no problem. Have a good one.